to the Kirk of Many Guises. My name is Graham. Today I want to talk about the Kirk's ceremonies for easing the heartache of grief following the loss of a beloved person. Death is a topic which we tend to avoid. It is rarely discussed, and most folk in our culture prefer not to think about it until it intrudes into our lives with the death of a loved one or someone well known to us. Yet death is inevitable to us all. Whilst most religions and philosophies have beliefs about death, they are just that, beliefs. Very little is actually known, truly, about death and what, if anything, lies beyond. Science can offer no conclusive information either. Contemporary science believes that energy can be neither created nor destroyed, only changed. And if this principle holds true, then the energy which is our life force must continue to exist beyond death, although perhaps changed in form. Further, most things in nature tend to have purpose and logic. The gaining of knowledge and lessons learned throughout life would be lost and without purpose if death was the complete end. It would seem more natural that the experience of this life is put to some purpose in some form of following on existence. However, this Kirk believes that it is for each person themselves to make up their own mind and find their own truth and comfort. Death is a great unknown and just maybe the beginning of a great new adventure. In our Kirk, there is no one answer. Everyone is unique. In preparing a farewell or funeral service for the deceased, the guiding principles of the Kirk are, firstly, the beliefs and wishes of the deceased, if known, and secondly, the best comfort and solace for those left behind. Whilst they're still alive, it is important, if possible, to find out the beliefs and wishes of any person for whom you may eventually have responsibility for making their funeral arrangements. This is clearly a delicate and sensitive task requiring the careful choosing of an opportunity to raise the subject. And this is probably easiest and best done when the person is quite young, healthy, and in a position far from the thought of their own death. Also, the Kirk will readily listen to the wishes of any person planning their own funeral, and if requested, will record their thoughts for the future. However, this may not be possible, and it may be necessary to try to understand the wishes of the person concerned in a fragmented and piecemeal way. The second consideration is the wishes of those left behind, in particular those in the closest relationship with the deceased person. The Kirk will hold a discussion with those left behind and plan a specific funeral ceremony to meet their needs and the views, if known, of the deceased. The funeral arrangements can be varied, themed, and carried out in numerous ways. The Kirk will impose no restrictions itself except that firstly, the death must have been recorded and meet all the requirements of the country where the death occurred, and also where the funeral service is to take place, if that is different. Secondly, the funeral service must be respectful of other funeral services or events occurring at the same time and close to this funeral service. And thirdly, the wording of the funeral service must be respectful to the deceased and be in harmony with the Kirk's principle of loving kindness and compassion to all. The Kirk will give full help and guidance in designing a suitable service using whatever sources, words and images are appropriate. Folk who knew the deceased will be actively encouraged to participate in the service, using their own words or recitations from books or other sources loved by the deceased or by themselves. The Kirk will be delighted to discuss informally with anyone for whom the above has a resonance and relevance in their lives. The Kirk is a not-for-profit organisation. It's registered as a company limited by guarantee in the United Kingdom. Now, keep safe and well until our next presentation next Wednesday, when we will be considering the birth, welcoming and naming of new arrivals.